I'm Peter Block here in Chicago at ACC 2016 for On the Scene, and with me is Amit Kara from the MGH, my old hometown and home base. Amit has been doing some work on genetics in hypercholesterolemia, so without further ado, Amit, tell me about your trial.
Thank you. So there are about 14 million Americans who have severe hypercholesterolemia. This means having an untreated LDL cholesterol of at least 190 milligrams per deciliter. Now, I think in clinical practice, many of us assume that these individuals might have a monogenic cause, meaning a single mutation in any of at least 3 genes that drives LDL cholesterol up to a large degree. But it turns out actually that the utility of genetic testing in this population remains uncertain. So our study had 2 objectives. The first was related to the diagnostic yield of genetic testing in this population. So in individuals ascertained solely on the basis of having a very high LDL, in what proportion could we identify a familial hypercholesterolemia mutation? And then secondly, does it matter? So for any given LDL cholesterol that you observe, does it matter with respect to your coronary artery disease risk if you do or do not have a mutation?
So you looked at outcomes as well?
This was a case control design with coronary artery disease. So we looked at both the prevalence of the mutation as well as impact on coronary artery disease.
Okay, so let me ask you some specific questions because it becomes important as to what you actually find. Did you just figure out they had coronary disease by angiography or by CTA, or did you have symptoms and hard endpoints?
So there were 7 different coronary artery disease case control studies that we combined as part of a consortium. The vast majority of these had a myocardial infarction. However, 1 or 2 of the studies included people based on an angiographically confirmed coronary artery disease.
Okay, short version then, what did you find?
So first, with respect to the diagnostic yield, among people with a high LDL, meaning greater than 190, only about 2% had a FH familial hypercholesterolemia mutation. We think that the other causes might be environmental causes, or some might have what we call polygenic hypercholesterolemia, in which they have not 1 mutation, but a number of mutations, each of which is very common and may increase LDL to a small degree, but cumulatively may increase LDL much more.
Okay, so what does it mean clinically?
Well, for any given LDL, we observe really for the first time that if you have a mutation, your risk of coronary disease was substantially higher than if you did not. For example, if you had a LDL greater than 190 but no FH mutation, we found that the risk of a coronary disease was increased about 6-fold. However, if you had both an LDL that was very high and an FH mutation, the odds ratio we observed was 22.3, meaning more than a 20-fold increase in risk.
Okay, thanks Amit. So genes do in fact count. What a surprise. Thanks very much for being here, Amit.